You light me up. Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. It's a little bit different to yesterday morning. This is my second Hospice UK conference as chair, my second real one, real people present, and my fifth ever. And the only ever stressful thing that happens is working out whether we've got a quorum for the AGM. I just popped out earlier on. I saw people literally flocking away. So, Rowena, our enumerator, is going to ask, could you please raise your hands if you are the nominated individual from your organisation, and keep your hands up while we count them. I apologise in advance for any pain this causes you, because we often count for quite a long time. We're there. Marvellous, thank you. Put your hands down. I thought you were all punching the air, actually, because Japan beat Germany 2-1, but never mind. So we've only got 3 items on the agenda. The first is a finance update, which is going to be a shared short event between Craig on my right and David Smith, who's on my far right. And it's not very often you'd say that of David Smith, is it? So, Craig first.
Yeah, so a very brief finance update, but then happy to take any questions. So the nominated members should have a copy of our annual report and accounts in their packs. I guess I'd characterise the overall financial situation as probably quite similar actually to where a lot of hospices are right now. So we had a successful financial year and have a healthy reserves position, but like a lot of you are probably looking to the future with trepidation. Again, like many of you, last year was an unusual year for us financially. In a typical year, we're normally sort of an £8 million income and expenditure organisation. Last year, we had £109 million turnover and £105 million expenditure. Of that £109 million, £99 million was exceptional COVID income, which came in and then went back out to the hospice sector in the form of grants. Of the remaining 10 million, over 90% of that was fundraising income, so that's quite unusual, as you know, for a membership organisation, in that the majority of our income comes from fundraising activities. And then, as I say, in terms of the reserves position, we have a target of trying to maintain at least £3 million of unrestricted core reserves. At the end of the year, our free reserves were 3.6 million, so slightly above the target that the trustees have set. I think that's really all I want to say in terms of high-level financial update. As I say, happy to take any questions after David just given a bit more detail in terms of how we spent some of that money.
I should just say David's giving a report on behalf of the trustees. The chair of our finance committee is currently stranded in Costa Rica, which is probably not a bad place to be. So David has stepped in as a member of the committee to give this trustees report.
Thank you, Paul. You know what it's like when you get asked to step in for somebody at the last minute, and that person's a fantastic accountant. Well, I'm not an accountant. And what really interests me in the discussions on the Finance Committee is kind of what have we invested in delivering our charitable objectives? And where has our money gone in kind of furtherance of our charitable purpose? And there are a few bullet points that I found quite interesting. And it's good to have the numbers around this. So as Hospice UK over the last year, we spent £1.1 million on extending our reach. So that's things like Project Echo and the influencing work that we've been doing in the 4 regions. We spent £700,000 on tackling inequalities, so the Equality in Hospice and End-of-Life Care report, and providing a platform for families that have been affected by COVID-19. We spent almost £1 million on working in communities, particularly around equality, diversity, and the Dying Matters campaign, and also extending our Compassionate Employers scheme, which is a route that we can really get into a workforce that aren't normally engaged in our traditional activities. And finally, we spent £1.5 million of our resources on empowering a strong hospice sector. And as a hospice chief exec, this is what we need from Hospice UK. So you'll have all seen the phase 2 of the Future Vision work, and we know that the further work on that is coming soon. And also developing our partnerships around nurses studies and working with different hospices and resilience-based clinical supervision. So some of the real kind of nitty-gritty clinical activity that we need support on. So they're the headline bullet points that I got to report back on. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig and David. Are there any questions? I can see the Slido screen is blank. I'm happy to take questions from the floor. Going once, going twice, gone. Can I ask then, by show of hands, if you are happy to approve the annual report and accounts which were sent with your notice of the AGM? If you're happy to approve, could you raise your hands? Thank you. Does anyone object? Does anyone wish to abstain? Thank you. That is NEMCOM. I think that's the right... Is that the right phrase? Is that sort of governance speak? You're not sure? You're not strong on Latin? Okay, never mind. Neither am I. The next thing that I have to ask you, and this is the final item of this gruelling annual general meeting, is whether you are happy to reappoint the excellent Price Bailey, there's a clue there, as our auditors. Can I see hands raised for those who are in favour? Can I see if there any are against? Or any abstentions? Again, that's carried unanimously. That's the English version of NEMCOM. All right. Okay. So with that, I can solemnly draw this magnificent occasion to a conclusion. Thank you for your participation. It's important that we do this. We do have to do this to keep ourselves regulated and proper and appropriate. And I think actually the fact that there aren't rigorous questions and so on actually is a sign of how well all of this is managed by our organisation. So thank you to Craig and colleagues for doing that. So thank you very much. I will now vacate the stage. I think Jonathan's taking over as chair for an award ceremony. Yep. Thank you.